Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Veronica and I run a small business called Looping Teddies where I make and sell crochet plushies. And I recently asked myself, how much yarn do I actually use in a month as a part-time crocheter? So this month we're looking at all of the yarn I'm using, and today is Monday. It's June 1st, so it's the start of the month, so I wanted to get this video started. I'm currently doing my 10,000 euro inventory series on my channel as well. So I think this month will be quite a busy one, and I think I will actually use quite a lot of skeins. I do use chenille yarn for my plushies. So these skeins are 120 meters or 100 grams. So quite the nice size. So it definitely takes me a little while to get through each skein, but I think I have a busy month ahead of me and I wanted to take you guys along for how much yarn I used. So the way I want to do this is I actually cake my yarn. So once I start a skein, I kind of like roll it up like this. I have a little like yarn caker that does this for me. So I can't really track like the end of a yarn skein because I don't have the label anymore then. So what I will do is every time I start a new skein, I will count the label as one skein used, because while it's not 100% accurate, I usually use the same colors over and over again. So once I start a new skein, that means I have used up another skein. So I think that will be the most accurate way of tracking it. So every time I start a skein, that will count as one skein used this month. So yeah, that is kind of the way I want to do it. I do have some yarn over here at home where I have started to use the skeins. So I have this storage where there's like bigger skeins that are kind of used, like partially used, but they are still caked up pretty nicely. So yeah, no labels here, but once I use one of these skeins up, we will start another in the same color. So then we can count the skein as used. And then I also have this little drawer where I store all of my tiny little scraps of yarn that can't really be caked up anymore. So yeah, that will be the quickest way to get a new skein in my counter. But yeah, the way I want to do this is check in every day, or at least every time that I use up a skein. I don't think I use a skein a day because, as I said, I'm a part-time crocheter, so I do have another job that I work during the week. So I think my goal for this month is 15 would be good already. Like I feel like with 15 skeins I would be happy. That's like one skein every other day. So we shall see if that works out. I am on vacation at the end of the month for a week, so maybe 15 is even pushing it, but we shall see. I've never done something like this before, so I'm really excited. I am currently working on turtles, so that is week 1 of my 10,000 euros series, focusing on turtles for a whole week. So that is why I'm checking in with you guys, because I'm about to start this skein for some turtle shells. I ended up running out of that, so yeah, I will take off the yarn label, and by that you can see I already used that skein a little bit. I ran out of this yarn on the last row of this shell, but I didn't have the time to get this video started when I was working on a shell. So little cheat right at the beginning, but this is how I will count my labels. So this will go in a bag and we will check that bag at the end of the month, see how many labels we have and see what colors we use and what projects we use them on. So I will cake this yarn now and keep working on my turtles, and I will check in with you guys once I have another yarn label to show you. Alright friends, it's now Wednesday, so it's June 3rd, and I wanted to give you a little update on my yarn usage. So yesterday I was working on turtles as I want to do this week, and I made this little guy, and this actually used up a skein of the lilac yarn, but I did have another pre-caked yarn skein already without a label, so no labels to be added to my bag for this month with this one. But we're now down to one lilac color that we can work on, and once I use that up, if I use that up this month, we can start a new one. So that is exciting. And then I finished up a whole ton of these natural looking turtles, so with green shells and brown bodies. And I actually used up a skein of this color, which I don't really like because it's always like super, super rough. But I did use up a skein and I started working on the next one. I didn't check in with you guys then, so it's now caked. But I have the label here. So we actually got quite far through the skein, but that is to be expected with 5 turtles. But now we can have another label. So that is a label for yesterday. And then today I will be working on some more turtles. And I actually think I might be able to add 2 labels to my bag today because I will be working on some green and brown turtles. And I only have little skeins left for both of those colors. So I think we will definitely start 2 more new skeins. So very exciting stuff happening there, but I will check in with you guys a little later and show you if I have some more labels to be added. Alright friends, so it's still the same day, so it's still June 3rd and it's the evening now, as you can tell, and I ended up working on my green and brown turtles, as I told you earlier, after work today, and I completely ran out of the brown yarn and I'm about to run out of the green yarn, so at the very last little bit of it, so I will pick those 2 colors up right now. That is why I'm over here. So we have quite a lot of the brown over here still, so we will need that, and then as well this green, so let me pick that up as well, and we still have quite a good stock for that as well. So these 2 colors will be going home with me and I will definitely start using them today. So 2 labels to be added to my stash for today. And then we actually have a little bit of a special situation going on in the next few days. So I'm actually leaving tomorrow to go to a music festival over the weekend. So I'm of course planning to take lots of yarn. So I will be gone tomorrow until Monday. So quite a few days, and I do have all of the things at home to make more turtles, so I will pack that. But I also want to pack some black and gray yarn as well. So some black and then also some gray, because I do want to work on penguins as well while I'm away, and I do have a little bit of gray and black back at home. I have like 3 partial skeins of black and 4 of gray, but none of them are like huge, so I definitely think I will need to stock up on those. So I will take those back home with me today. I won't be starting on them, but maybe during my trip, so I will keep you updated on that. Alright friends, quite a time jump. It's currently June 10th, so quite a long time no see, but I wanted to give you an update on my yarn usage for the month of June. So as I told you guys, I've been out of the house for a couple of days. I was at a music festival over the course of the weekend. I got home Monday evening, but I didn't get to check in until now with you guys. But I wanted to show you what I have been working on and what yarn labels we get to add to my little pile for that. So I ended up working on so many turtle parts. I don't even know how to show you, but there's quite a lot in here. So I made enough parts for 14 more turtles, so quite a lot, but I don't get to add a ton of new labels to my little stack. I ended up using this little clip to keep track of my labels, so we can add 2 more labels to my little stack for now. So all of the colors I had scraps of where I don't get to add a label currently, but I did end up starting a new skein of black for some penguins, which I didn't actually show you right now, but I did end up making some penguins on the train ride home. So a black yarn label because I used up my scrap I had of the black yarns. I had 3 little scraps from other trips where I ended up taking some black to work on penguins, but I used all of them up, started a new one, so 1 more yarn label to be added to my pile. And then the other yarn label is beige because I ended up making so many turtle parts in beige, so this is just a small amount of them. But yeah, I make a lot of my turtles with beige bodies, so I used up all of the beige that I had started to use, and I'm now halfway through another skein of the beige. So maybe not the final beige label that we can add to the pile, but for now just 2 more labels on my clip. And yeah, I will now today and tomorrow keep on actually completing all of the turtles. So maybe we can add another yarn label. I don't think I have enough beige yarn left on a skein I'm currently working on to actually finish up all of the turtles. So we shall see if we can add another one. For all of the penguins I want to finish up, I don't think I can actually add another yarn label because at the stage they're currently at, you don't need to add any more yarn because the body is crocheted all the way. You just need to add eyes. So the beak, where I always leave this little orange string to sew that on, and then you just close it up with the little yarn tail that I leave at the end. So no more yarn usage for all of these penguins. So yeah, I guess not a busy week regarding my yarn usage. And then also on Friday I'm actually going on vacation for a little over a week, and we're actually doing like a long trail, so hiking from day to day and staying at different hotels in different towns. So I don't get to take a ton of things with me because I will have to carry them around with me. So I don't think I will use a ton of yarn there. I don't plan on bringing any chenille yarn, but I did order some other yarn, which I will get right now because we might get to add a yarn label from that. So here is the yarn I ordered. So it is this size 4 yarn, which is cotton yarn, I think. No, actually it's acrylic yarn, and I'm not sure if you can tell, but it has like little glitter pieces in the yarn as well. So I ordered that to actually work on a project for myself because, as you know, I just got back from a festival, and while we were there we actually bought tickets for next year's edition because it's always like way cheaper if you do it like that. And I've kind of like set myself a goal to make myself a top for the festival next year. So I think this is the perfect color with like black and little glitter. So I'm planning to make a crochet top, and I think I will take this yarn on vacation with me to work on the top while I'm there because I can't really work on bulky plushie makes while I'm away. But I think a top with just taking these 2 skeins of yarn will be the perfect project to work on, so I have something to do on the plane and in the evenings when we're staying at the hotels. So maybe we can add a yarn label. This one is already ripped, but we shall see. I will keep you updated on that, but I will definitely check in with you guys before I leave to go on vacation, and we shall see if I have any more labels to be added by then. Alright friends, well, what a time jump. I am now back from vacation, so it is now June 23rd actually, so it's Tuesday. I've been back a couple of days, but it has been pretty busy in my life currently, so I only get to check in now and tell you a little bit about my yarn usage ever since I last checked in with you guys around 2 weeks ago. And honestly, it is not looking all that great for this month. I haven't used up a ton of yarn, so ever since then I actually don't have any more labels to be added to my stash. Well, I guess you could argue. So let's get into what I've been working on in the past 2 weeks. So as you know, I left to go on vacation for 9 days. So that was quite a while out of the past 2 weeks. And as I told you before I didn't get to take a ton of yarn because I had to carry everything that I took on vacation on my backpack for our trail, which was so much fun. We ended up hiking for 70 kilometers in 4 days, which was awesome. And then we also got to do some sightseeing there. So we went to Portugal, and it was such a great time, but it meant that I didn't really get to crochet all that much on my vacation. But I wanted to work on a top, as I told you before I left, and I actually got quite far with that. So this is what it's looking like currently. Still obviously a lot to do. This is my first crochet top that I've ever worked on. And honestly, I have gained so much respect for people that do crochet clothing and bags and all of that, because I don't love working with this small yarn. It takes such a long time, at least for me. I'm so slow to work with that type of yarn. So much respect to all of you out there that regularly make crochet clothes. I could never, but I definitely learned quite a lot from this project so far. So I will definitely keep on working on that and finishing it because I really like it. I'm not sure if it's actually my size, so we shall see about that once it's finished. That would be so unfortunate if it didn't actually fit me, but yeah, we shall see. So I still have quite a lot of yarn left from the one skein that I ended up taking. So I was talking about taking two, but in the end I decided to only take one, which was definitely the right idea because I got all of that done and I still have, I think, over half of this skein left. So definitely enough there. But it was such a good thing to have something to work on in the evenings because I couldn't really take a book, which I usually like to do when I go on vacation, because that is kind of heavy and we already definitely overpacked for the long hikes. So this was such a great idea to take and I'm glad I did it. So yeah, that needs to be finished in the future. And I think I actually get to add this yarn label to my little stack because by my logic, I always add the label when I start working on a skein because usually that means I used up a whole nother skein from a different color. So you could argue I didn't use anything up for this to be added. But honestly, I think for working so much on a top, I kind of deserve to add this to my stack. So I guess we do have one very ripped yarn label to be added to my little stack because I kind of need that. So I will add that here. That is the only yarn label for now that I actually get to add because I did crochet a little more. You can kind of see it back there ever since I got home from vacation, but I didn't use up any yarn skeins. So I made quite a lot of these little penguins, or I guess I finished them up. So you don't need any yarn for them once the body is finished. So yeah, quite a lot of projects that are finished, but nothing to be added to my little yarn label stash. And yeah, I also finished some more turtles, but we still have partial skeins for both of these body colors, so nothing to be added there, which is unfortunate. And I honestly think for the rest of my works in progress I won't get to add any more yarn labels, but I'm hoping to get those finished hopefully today or at the latest tomorrow, so we can move on to some new projects and hopefully have a stronger finish for this month, because currently this is a tiny little stack of yarn labels. So definitely need to improve on that, and I can definitely do that in the last week of June. So I will catch you guys probably tomorrow or on Thursday once we start working on some new projects and not only finishing works in progress. So friends, it is Thursday, it is June 25th, and I have finished quite a lot of projects ever since I last checked in with you guys. So these are all of the plushies I finished, but, and that is very unfortunate, I don't have any yarn labels to add to my pile, even though this is how many plushies I finished. So we've talked about this before, but for these penguins, I don't get to add any yarn labels because I had all of the bodies finished for those. So no more yarn used up to finish those. And then for the turtles that I finished, I also had scraps for every single color. So some of them I got close to using them up, but I ended up having enough. On this one, I actually played yarn chicken on this darker purple, and I had like a yarn tail this long at the end, but that kind of ended up working out perfectly, so I didn't need to break into another skein, so there's no new yarn labels to be counted. So that is unfortunate. I feel like I've been crocheting so much, but I don't have a ton of labels. So yeah, we shall see. Starting tomorrow until the end of the month, I think I want to focus on making some more capybaras because I currently don't have any of them left in my inventory, and they are very popular. I do have quite a lot of yarn scraps for those colors as well. So they basically only take 2 colors, a dark brown and then like a medium brown. And let me actually get out how many scraps I have to kind of see if it's realistic that I use all of that up over the course of just a couple of days. Okay, so that's definitely going to be challenging to use all of that up over just a couple of days. I have this huge yarn ball for the medium brown. I think this is almost like a full skein, just caked up, but I don't have the label anymore, so no labels there. But yeah, almost an entire skein. And then I also have this like half skein or so of the same color. And yeah, definitely quite a lot. I think that's gotta be at least 6 capybaras or so. So quite a lot. And then for the accent colors, it's actually looking even worse. Well, I guess I have a lot of yarn left, so it's not a bad thing, but for my challenge right now, it's kind of a bad thing. I have this dark brown. I have 2 skeins. They're actually not completely the same. It's like showing up on camera more than in real life. But I have these 2 dark browns, and you don't really need a ton of this accent color for a capybara, so this is definitely enough. And then I also make them in a lighter color variation, which uses this brown as the accent color. So this is kind of the capybara. And since you don't really use a ton of the accent color, I think this will be enough as well. So my best shot at getting a new label is this color. So definitely have a lot of motivation to make at least enough capybaras to use all of these scraps up. So we shall see. I will check in with you guys tomorrow once I start working on them. And yeah, we will see how many I can actually get out of my current skeins. Alright friends, it's now June 27th, so it's Saturday, and I wanted to show you my progress on working on the capybaras to give you a little yarn update. So far I have made 3 capybaras, 2 in the dark and 1 in the light version. And well, the 2 contrast colors are pretty much the same as they were before. You really don't need to use a ton of that for those, so yeah, we will not use any of that up. But for the main color, you actually use quite a lot of. So I had 2 yarn balls before. I used one of those up. That came out to be like 1.5 or so capybaras, so yeah, pretty quickly that one was used up. And now the other one was basically a full yarn skein just caked up. This is what it's looking like now, so definitely a little bit of progress here, and I think this might make like a little over 2 more capybaras, I would say, from just like how much I have been using on the other 3. I think this is like maybe 2.5 capybaras, so definitely something I will be able to do over the course of the weekend. It is really hot outside today, and then tomorrow it's also going to be super hot, so I will definitely be at the lake for quite a while over those 2 days, but still I can definitely get more than 2 of these capybaras finished, since well, I made 3 in just basically yesterday and this morning. So yeah, I think we're on a good way to getting another yarn label for this month. So I will probably keep on working for like an hour or so before it's just too hot in here to work anymore, and then I might come back to work on them a little later again, and hopefully we can use all of this up today, and then tomorrow we can start with a fresh new skein and have a new label. Alright friends, it's now Sunday, it is the 28th, and I wanted to give you an update on my capybara making journey. So I just came back from the lake, so I might look a little crazy, and it's still super hot outside. So I've been avoiding going to my studio to pick up some more yarn, but I wanted to show you how many capybaras I finished before I ran out of the medium brown color. So Last night I do believe I showed you 2 finished capybaras, or maybe 3, but now we're sitting at 3 in the dark version, and then 3 more in the light version. So 6 completed capybaras, and then I also have 1 more where I now ran out of the medium brown. So yeah, just a little bit of the 7th one completed, and once it hopefully cools down a little more later on tonight, I will head over to my studio and pick up a new medium brown, because I do want to keep on working on these capybaras over the course of the rest of the month. I also finished this hoodie bear since I checked in with you last time, but I didn't run out of any yarn, so I still have the brown. That is the same brown as the lighter version of the capybaras, so I had enough of that. I had a lot of the body finished already, and then the yellow was an already caked skein where there's still like half left, and then the orange I still have a lot left as well. So no new skeins, but another finished plushie. And now, while it's still super hot, I'm currently working on getting a little bit of a head start for next month. So I'm making upper halves for mini penguins, specifically in dark purple. So next month in July, I do want to do a mini plushie challenge, kind of like part 2. So for the whole month, I will be working on mini plushies again. So I'm kind of getting a head start for myself and working on those. But I do have quite a lot of the dark purple, because I don't need a ton for every single upper half. So I don't think I will run out of any of that. But yeah, that is what I'm working on right now. Then later tonight, I will head over to the studio and we will have a new yarn label to be added to my stack. And I can keep on working on the capybaras. So that's how far I've gotten. And I will check in with you guys tomorrow and hopefully show you some more progress. Alright friends, it is June 30th and it is the afternoon already, so I definitely know that tonight I won't be using up any more yarn. So it is time for the grand reveal how much yarn I used in the month of June. So before I can give you the total though, let me catch you up to speed on what I've been working on and how many yarn labels we actually get to add to my stash. So since I last spoke to you, I finished quite a couple more capybaras. So I have a total of 6 more. So 3 in the dark and 3 in the light version. So a total of 12 capybaras this month, which is definitely a good number since I only started making them in the past couple of days. But I did use up 1 whole skein of the medium brown for those. So I actually broke into the next one, which is why I have another yarn label. So that is the final label for June, which I will add to my little stack here. And yeah, this looks definitely underwhelming. I've seen other people do these how much yarn I use in a month videos, and this is definitely quite embarrassing. But also I do have another job, so this is just my little side small business and not my full-time job. So definitely shouldn't compare myself there. And I was also away for quite a lot of the month. So yeah, I think this is still pretty good. Pause the video right here if you want to guess how many yarn labels I actually used this month, and then we can get right into what I actually used. Okay, so I have counted it out and I have a total of 9 yarn labels here, so definitely below my goal. I think I said I wanted to get at least 12 or so if I remember correctly, but yeah, stayed under my expectations. But then again, it's not a normal month for me. I don't go on vacation every single month. So yeah, that's that. I also do have an acrylic yarn label in here from making my top, which is also very unusual. I usually only work with chenille yarn, so that is something new. So that is only one skein in a different yarn type. And then let's go through my chenille yarn labels from least to most used, and we can kind of look back on the month and see what we used it up on. So first of all, I have one label of the Wolle and Tausend chenille, which is a German brand, and it's a pretty new to me brand. I think they have been open for quite a while, but I only found out about them recently, or like kind of recently. So I have been switching over a lot of my standard colors to them because I really like the quality, and they're actually quite cheap, and like cheaper than the other chenille yarn brands that I use. So I have one yarn label in the color 10, which is their black, which I really like because it's like a little more muted than a lot of other chenille blacks. They are always like kind of shiny, and this one has a really nice feel to it. So yeah, I've been switching over my black to that. Then we have two Himalaya Dolphin Baby, which are different colors actually. One is 8359 and one is 8360. I think those are both from my turtle making journey. So two of those. I also really like the Himalaya Dolphin Baby. I have been switching all of the other colors that I can't find in this yarn brand over to Himalaya Dolphin Baby. They have a ton of different colors and I really like them. So yeah, I've been kind of like on a transition away from my most used yarn, which is Liami chenille. I have been talking about them for years now. I really like the yarn still, but it is just a little more expensive than the other two brands that I have been talking about. And then also over time, I've come to love the colors of Himalaya Dolphin Baby just a little more than Liami, which doesn't mean they are a bad brand or anything. I just prefer some other yarn brands now. So I have been trying to use up my very big Liami yarn stash. So I got 5 of those completed out of my stash this month, and yeah, that is a good accomplishment. I think most of these are, well, actually they're quite different. So 2 are from the capybaras and then the other 3 are from the turtles. So yeah, 5 gone, or I guess 9 skeins gone. And then another fun question I always see asked under these videos is, yeah, we can see how much yarn you used up, but how much did you actually buy this month? So that I think is a very interesting question. And this month I think I was pretty good. I only bought 3 skeins of yarn, which was my acrylic yarn where I started making my top, and I already almost used up one of them. So I think that was a very good month for the ratio of yarn buying and yarn using. So yeah, I'm definitely happy with that. I wish I had a little more impressive results for you guys, but that is just the reality of being a part-time business owner. Let me know down below in the comments if you liked this video, if you found this video concept interesting, and if you would like to see another video in this style for July, which I definitely think is a more interesting month because I'm doing a mini plushie challenge part 2 where I will try and make 200 of my mini plushies in just a month. So hopefully we can have some more impressive yarn usage there. For now, I thank you guys so much for watching this video all the way until the end. I will see you guys again next week for another video. So until then, bye!